Wise men say, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. We're going to talk about set 7 Datacrons here. They're here, and Conquest is about to start, so you can start farming them, and whether you want to be ready for be able to impact your guild, or being able to just play well in GAC or whatever. I just want to talk about some of these factors. I'll give my top 5 things. I have an infographic that you guys can go and get if you want it. So let's jump in and mount the algorithm, guys. If you want to support the channel for free, all you've got to do is hit the like button, subscribe, comment, etc. And we're mounting the algorithm. It's not only a duty, it's a privilege. Alright, here's my set 5 infographic. Here's set 6. Set 7. If you want the set 7 one, and I think I'm getting better at making these things, folks. Just real slowly. This isn't perfect either, but we're getting a little closer. If you want this one, though, you can go to the Discord server. The link is found in the video description here, folks, and you can go check it out. You get it in the Infographics channel toward the bottom of the list of channels, and yeah, you can find all my other set 6 stuff as well. Set 5, I don't delete stuff there too often. And so you guys can find it. You guys can download it for free and go share it with your guild if you want, or don't, just hopefully this helps you on your way. That being said, let's go look at the the infographic for just a second, and I just want to show you guys how to read this thing before we go into the game, and I talk a little bit more about what's going on this pretty interesting set. So I guess we could turn off my face for 1 second. So one thing that I added this time is a top 5 box. On the top left, you guys can see that we have like a sortie squad, we have a couple galactic legends, things that you probably want to prioritize getting. The rest of them underneath that say, it's under the little caption that says pretty neat. Those ones are also pretty good. They're just characters that aren't necessarily characters that everyone's going to have, and the characters like Zori, for instance. That whole squad is probably not one. If I don't have it, I should say, most other people don't either at this point. And then I also added a Galactic Legends section just to talk about and discuss what sets do these Galactic Legends want these days. Now that set 5 is gone, do they want set 6? Do they want set 7, etc.? And then I also added a prefers set 6 box, and it tells you, squads that really want set 6 still, because they have, things that help them in set 6, such as Grand Inquisitor. The Hondo squad is it's such an awkward situation, guys, because he's neutral. In fact, he goes with a lot of light side teams, but he really wants his Datacron. It is such a good Datacron, and it's tough to know exactly what to do. So that's how to read it. Let's go into the game here, folks. And we'll talk about things, especially pertaining to the game. If I can find the button for it. Whoa! We're in the game. How'd we get in the game? This is madness. All right. So this set is all light side, as you might have noticed. It is level 3. Probably just can ignore it a lot of times. Like, there's a few good ones, and I've noted them for the teams on the infographic that I've shown you guys. But yeah, set 3 or level 3, really not that important. And remember, when a lot of these factions have overlap, and so like when you have dark side droids, they are getting the faction 6, the level 6 for droids. The droid part still works, but remember, if they're dark side droids, the level 3 one won't work unless it's bugged, which let's face it, it's probably bugged on some level. the level 6 stuff, there's a lot of interesting stuff. So Kira ends up being one of my most important ones, one of my top 5 picks, and you can see with Kira, because her AoE does stagger, and she also does stun. She doesn't do stun, but every time she does stagger to people and it's an AoE, they deal bonus damage equal to 35% of that enemy's max health. She's going to be ripping chunks out of entire teams, guys. It's going to be quite the sight to behold. I'm very interested. I'm going to run her with Dash, I think, but it's going to be really fun. Dash and Veteran Han. The key thing to keep in mind too, though, guys, is there's a lot of characters I'm gonna have to Relic 7 for this, because they're not, and they're all gonna be required for this stuff. Yeah. So otherwise, there's a lot of different things that you can look at. The Retribution thing is a nice little. I don't know, it's a nice little boost, but it's only for smugglers. Keep that in mind, guys. It's not scoundrels. And so I don't know which smuggler team really wants Retribution more than they want other things. Frankly, there's not many smuggler teams to begin with. Though that might be the one you want on Jabba, for instance. You know, the Retribution thing for smugglers. You know, we thought that the Retribution was gone. Though, I guess maybe it's not, folks. Somehow Retribution has returned. Now, the other thing that you can be doing for Jabba is that top one here, and this might not be as good as the Retribution one, frankly. I might need to change that before I post it on the Discord, but I might not. I'm getting tired, guys. But the Smuggler Ally. So whenever they're gaining bonus turn meter, they gain 2% critical damage for the rest of the encounter. That's going to they gain a lot of turn meter over the course of a match, and I think Boosh hitting like a space truck is pretty cool. There's a whole lot of these abilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of them. All right. So resistant. I mean, they're all basically the same. I don't think that there's really one that doesn't do the same thing as the others. The droid one does have a target lock one, which is pretty important to be able to do for a few different teams. They also have Retribution and a bunch of aggressive little metalloid a-holes. But otherwise, yeah, so as far as characters go, people have been like, ooh, look at this, like the big weakness that Vander Chewie has is that he can't revive himself, right? Like, he can revive everyone else, and now the Dash is here, he can revive everyone else in perpetuity. However, when the AI decides to focus your Vander down, and he goes down screaming and then, you know, with the new Datacron, he'll be okay, and if without the new Datacron, he won't be. The problem is he's going to be on a lot of teams, at least initially for me. He's going to be on a lot of teams that I am just going to, I'm going to have a better Datacron on that squad, and so Vander, like, this one seems good. I don't know how often I'm going to even use it. Now, T3 is another one that I'm like, all right, so Gom did a whole thing on how good T3 is going to be, because this is the defense penetration is something that he shares with everyone. So whenever he crits an enemy, then he gains 10% critical damage. Cool. You know, I mean, the defense pen is also just really nice, and he has an AOE, so he can get up to 50% pretty dang quickly, assuming he can actually crit. But, I mean, it looks good. The thing is, he's going to be on a sortie team a lot of times, and I just don't know. I don't know if this is going to be a wise thing for, I think I want sorties better, frankly. I like it better. Alright, so this is the battle of the ideologies. 3PO and Chewie. Chupio is what we call this character, and, probably, I mean, he's going to need Relic 7 as well, but, whenever they use a basic ability, they gain 5% offense, and remember, he is assisting every single attack. All Rebel allies gain protection up from 50%. This is going to be really good, Yeah, so they also have R2-D2 in here. They're like, hey, R2-D2. R2-D2's like, oh, cool, do I get to go with you? And they're like, we don't need you anymore. We have a Datacron for you, trash can. And the trash can goes and dies of sadness, of course, or at least shuts down of sadness. It's a convoluted thing. We don't really know what his motivations are. Or if he's a droid, maybe he's dreaming of electric sheep, who knows. This is going to be really good. I'm just not totally convinced that this is going to be better than the set 6 one for the CLS team, where Han gets 3 turns in a row, essentially, and Chewie and Chewpio are going to be assisting. This one is definitely one that you're going to want in 2 months. At the very least, you're going to want it in 2 months, because they're going to, the set 6 is going to dust, and we're going to want something for CLS, of course. Resistance Pilot, you can just kind of skip that one forever. K2, it makes himself more difficult to kill. That he's not a huge priority, because he's already tough to kill. And yeah, this one is just making him, yeah, like, I guess let's just keep giving him more relics. He gets 5% max health and protection for, I mean, he's just gonna, the only reason we're even paying any attention to this at all is we all have Rogue One to varying degrees, and some of us have a relic K2SO, which, you know, this plays nicely into, frankly. Resistance Hero Finn, this is something that I marked on the data, or on the infographic, as it's not a huge priority to get this one, but it's like, well, you know, if he's on a Rey team, Rey doesn't have any explicit characters or Datacrons on that team that have Datacrons, so you may as well get the one for Finn, and this isn't bad. Whenever another ally recovers protection, Resistance Hero Finn gains foresight. And the thing is, if you get that level 3 that we were showing you lately that I said is insignificant, but this one is nice. Whenever they gain a buff, they recover 2% health and protection. If he's on a light side team, they're going to be getting buffs. And so whenever he gains protection back, whenever he heals protection, then he is going to, he gets foresight, which is nothing too crazy, but it's a nice little boost if you can handle it. IG-11, I'm probably going to end up giving him a whole lot of potency, folks, because he does an extra, like he does like double the damage, essentially, based on how much potency he has. And he's going to be on a team that I don't think needs to be using something else. Yeah, Poe, you can just forget right about him and what he's trying to do. Sorty's the one that's going to be crazy. So remember, guys, that spare parts ability, whenever someone dies, then even if it's a permanent or death, like it's a prevent revives death, they still come back somehow. And so the awesome thing about spare parts is every time every time Sorty takes a turn, the spare parts return on all of them. It repopulates on all of those droids. It's going to be a very, very obnoxious team to take out. Keep in mind, though, that doesn't work on Sorty herself. If they decide to kill her, and you know, twice in a row, then you're kind of out of luck. So like Trey is still going to work, Bounty Hunter still might work, etc. if they're willing to play a little bit longer of a game, being able to eliminate her. But this is going to be really good, and I think it's going to have some off-meta potential, just because whenever droid allies gain spare parts, they gain 25% plus 25% offense stacking for the rest of the encounter. And so Sorty isn't going to be ramping damage, but all the other ones are on the team, and that'll really add up. I'm very excited for this. My alt is going to be working on this as soon as Jabba is done, and definitely excited for that one. L3, just ignore that one. Nest, it looks decent. Like whenever this combined with the Kron, where you know, whenever she stuns people, it can be pretty good. You know, she does 35% max damage. I just don't know that she's going to, like, so she's so plug and play. This might be one of those characters that you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll throw Nest on like my Darth Revan team, and then the Darth Revan team You know, if we don't want a set 6 cron, then we can just give Nest hers, I guess. I don't know, it's not great. Young Han Solo, just go ahead and ignore that one if you like. Kira's another one that's really good. I think I talked about it a little bit. She's basically like Dash, but I'm going to probably stash her on a Dash team anyways to begin with, just because I like his leadership a lot, and she doesn't need to be the lead for this to be able to work. Definitely something to be paying attention to, folks. This one's on my list for my alt as well. Couple Relic 7s that I didn't really need, but man, they are super strong. Rose's is crazy as well, folks. Whenever she uses shock prod, whenever the stun expires, then inflict death mark. So crazy, man. So crazy, death mark, and then you just kill him then. You know, this is in the day and age of Zori Bliss and her Omicron. This one is really good as well. It seems like if Zori's going to be on the same team as Rose, then I think Rose's is better. I don't know for sure. It's very difficult to see. There's a wall of text for these, as you can see, but I think that you prefer Rose. I think you want the Omicron on Zori. You can kind of skip the one on Rose. The one on Rose is also very good, alongside Zori. I don't know what to do, guys. Sana is also, this one's pretty cool. If you put her with Rolo, which Rolo needs Relic 5 at least now, if you want to use this, and Sana needs Relic 7. But when she does, then you're going to be increasing your opponent's cooldowns by a whole heck of a lot. So, anyways, folks, should be an interesting thing. Remember, the stats, armor only, it's different from resistance. Remember, physical damage does damage against armor, and special damage does damage against resistance. We're getting potency and tenacity, so I'm excited to see what kind of crazy tenacity crons you're going to be getting. Jabba really wants a lot of tenacity, keep in mind. He wants tenacity and health. We also get health here on this set. And then we have for damage dealing, we have armor penetration and resistance penetration, which you can get crazy high percentages of those, folks. Like the minimum, if you roll on the 7 to 8, is 70%. It's pretty dirty, folks. That's a whole lot. The armor is also just extremely high. I would highly recommend really farming the heck out of this set. That being said, folks, I'm gonna let you go. Take a look at the infographic, of course, as I had mentioned previously, and that was the wrong button. And look at the infographic. Go figure it out. Talk about it in the Discord server if you have questions. I'll be around probably, and I think we're gonna call it. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.